Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here. We have with us Major General Vikram Dogra, AVSM, the only serving army officer and the only general in the world to do Ironman challenge twice. Mr. Major General Dogra passed out from the Indian Military Academy in 1981 and is the recipient of the Sword of Honor and Gold Medal. During his 36 years of service, he commanded the Pune House and Armored Brigade and an infantry division, part of his strike corps. He has served as a military observer as part of UN peacekeeping force in Angola. A patron for over 4 years, he has administered two of the biggest army schools with more than 3,500 students each at Delhi and Mathura. He is a keen sports person and has cycled from Leh to Chandigarh over five of the highest mountain passes ranging from 13,400 to 17,600 feet. A motivational and TEDx speaker, he completed Ironman Austria at the age of 58 in 14 hours and 21 minutes on July 1, 2018, to become the first serving Indian Army officer and the only general in the world to do so. On July 28, 2019, he once participated in Ironman Hamburg, Germany, and bettered his own time by 41 minutes. He has been awarded Ati Vishisht Seva Medal by the President of India to recognize distinguished service of an exceptional order. Let's welcome Major General Dogra.
Thank you so much, Reena.
Good
Thank you for
afternoon,
the.
sir. Good afternoon, sir. How
It's
are
a
you,
pleasure
sir?
to be here. It's a
Sir,
pleasure
it's
to be here,
always
and thank you for the
it's
introduction.
always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. In fact, I learn a lot from you as well.
Thank you. Same here.
Sir, though you've been in the armored brigade and you've been heading the Pune horse brigade and everything, sir, there is a portion where you it was a part of your service that you administered two of the biggest army schools in India, one at Delhi and one at Mathura. So, normally I ask everybody, what brings you to education? For you, I would ask, what was your experience administering these schools?
So, like always, dealing with education and especially education for children is a very enriching experience. My task as the patron was to look after all facets of education to do with the academic part, the physical, the administrative, the infrastructure. So the entire gamut of the school, finally, the ball stopped at me. And since children were involved, their futures were involved, uh, their education, their extracurricular activities, their sports, it was a very enriching experience. And it was always my dream to really, to run a school sometime. Of course, I don't see that happening. But I would love to administer a school or, be able to run a school where you can contribute directly to the future of our country.
Sir, while getting, because I'm sure the kids under your patronship might have been wonderful in their fitness, might have been wonderful in everything that you administered them. So, sir, how would you state the sports and fitness of the students there?
Well, I was surprised. I would not say only surprised, I was shocked to find that the level of sports and fitness was below par. I am from a boarding school. I have studied in the hills in Missouri in a school called St. George's College, where a lot of emphasis was spent upon, sports, running the cross country, and being fit. And I too believe that unless you have a fit body, you cannot have a healthy mind. And it was astonishing when I found that one of the schools didn't even have a sports day. Being an army school, they never had a sports day which had been arranged. So all that had to be put into place. And I, of course, did give a lot of emphasis on the sports and on fitness. But of course, it has to happen within the time which is available from the primary curriculum of the school, which is the academics and the other extracurricular activities. So it's basically a balance which you need to draw between all these, and a holistic kind of education needs to impart it.
So, as I know, like me also being a boarding student, I think it has been a part of all of our life that we have been involved in academics as well as sports altogether. So, sir, now let's come to the topic, because I'm very eager to hear your views and your instructions and your opinion on what is going to be education post lockdown.
Ever since this situation of COVID-19 has hit us, and we know how this virus is transmitted, how easily it is transmitted, how fatal it can be. We have seen what has been happening around us, and the government took this decision of lockdown and of putting schools, cinema halls, and other places which have, a gathering at hold. Now, this lockdown, of course, is easing out in different places at different time frames, at different levels. And as I see it, in my opinion, maybe in another 3, 4 to 6 months, the lockdown or the restriction on running schools may be lifted by the government. But that does not mean that the danger of COVID-19 will go away. So the danger of COVID-19 remains, and the lockdown is going to be lifted. And that is the challenge that most schools are going to face, that in this kind of a scenario, how will they run their schools? Now, we all know that to keep ourselves safe from COVID-19, we need to wear masks, we need to, do social distancing, we need to wash our hands regularly, and the entire laundry list of things which we have now been quite adept at for the last 4 months. But when you're dealing with children, especially children who are young, who may not abide by what guidelines have been laid down, who have the tendency to be naughty and take risks, then this challenge of running a school in such circumstances, I feel, becomes very, very big. And not only that, till a vaccine is developed where children can be vaccinated and then sent to school, till that time, the parents are also going to have a big question mark on whether they want to send the children to school or not. Now, whilst the schools may open, the parents may not be keen to take this risk of sending the children to school, because finally, the school, they need to have faith in the fact that when the child goes to school and comes back, this child is not infected at school. And therefore, the schools will have to give this kind of assurance, which I feel is very, very difficult for them to implement. And keeping all this in mind, I feel that the pattern of education till such time that a vaccine is actually available and children are vaccinated, the pattern of education will have to be out of the box, an out of the box solution which can meet the aspirations of both the educators and of the stakeholders in terms of the students and their parents.
So I
And in
have a
this
question.
entire, yeah.
I have a question. We are talking about out of the box education, out of the box methods of teaching. But how are we to because you are a fitness expert as well. How and what would you suggest the schools to keep the kids fit? Because during lockdown, the our kids have become couch potatoes. They are just involving in watching TV, playing games after the online classes, and there is 0% of fitness activity. So, sir, what would you suggest for parents as well as schools that they make a rule that the kids follow that? Though they are having online yoga classes, online aerobics classes, but do you think that this is sufficient enough for teenagers?
I feel that this issue of fitness of children is not peculiar only to this stage now. We have been in lockdown only for 4 months. But this situation of the children not being fit has been on for years and years. I see a lot of children who are into exactly what you said. They spend a lot of time online, on social media, and they really don't invest in physical activity. And therefore, nothing much has really changed as far as this lockdown is concerned, except restricting those children who earlier were playing outside. Now, these restrictions of not being able to leave your house are there to stay till such time as you can find this vaccine. And therefore, within these boundaries, you will have to find solutions. And these solutions will have to be aided or assisted by the parents. The school can only provide you a curriculum. They can provide you a formal kind of maybe, even instruction for yoga or for other activities, or maybe even online gym classes. But to undertake that, the onus is with the parents. They have to encourage their children so that they follow, because the teachers are not present out there. The teachers are online. Whether it's a yoga class or whether it's some other class, there is nobody to supervise them except their own parents. So I think the onus of this lies as much with the student and his parents, in fact, more with them than with the school.
So in a way, like again, we are promoting the partnership of parent and school together. Secondly, we are emphasizing that yes, apart from education, physical fitness is also must, because a fit mind is always ready to adapt anything. So,
True.
like we, what would you suggest the parents? Because I'm very much sure, and I having a teenager at home, and even you are aware that we have been telling you do this, you do that, and he is somehow picking it up. But not all the kids are doing that. What activities or what exercises? In fact, you have been sending us lots of fitness videos also, which I have been circulating as well. So, how can we, as educators, motivate our students to follow those videos, wherein they can be fit mentally and physically both?
See, motivation is something that has to come either from within, or then there has to be a catalyst for it. And the way the schools can get involved with this is to, like, they have some kind of a ranking given to students in terms of the academics and other curricular activities. They can also have some kind of ranking given to students who have during this period moved up in their fitness from wherever they were. Now, these standards of what you call fitness is for the school to set. We are not looking at international standards, or we're not looking at training some kind of super athlete. We are basically looking at children remaining fit and healthy. And therefore, some parameters can be laid out to say, okay, this is the kind of weight you need to come into. This is the kind of look that you should be able to give, that there should be no obesity and stuff like that. So this will have to be worked out as to what is practical to be done, because it's not very easy to try and put students who have so many other distractions in life through something which they have not been doing otherwise, and now this something is happening online. So this is going to be a challenge. And but like I said, out of the box kind of solutions are available. There are right now trainers who are coming online, giving classes. You can have benchmarks which are set that if you reach this benchmark, this is the kind of your recognition the school will give you. So they can have a prize distribution ceremony or a recognition ceremony to say, okay, these children have reached this benchmark, and so forth. So there has to be something to motivate the children to do what we are talking about, if that motivation is not already coming from within.
Right. So, sir, talking only about education is not enough, because this we are as a parent. I'm talking right now, not as an educationist. As a parent, our kids are having online classes since morning till afternoon, right? And too much of exposure to screen time is getting their brains tired. They get fatigued rather, and after the classes are over, either they go off to sleep or they want to just be with mobiles. These are the only two things they are doing. Okay. And yes, I have observed and in fact, most parents have also discussed that they are either on, they are just having their mobiles in hand, and they are just roaming around here and there, voiding their time during the online class. So this shows that they somewhere want that they should be involved in some other activity. So, keeping these points in mind, what can the schools instruct the students so that they can be more attentive to the class, online class that's going on? And what would you suggest the schools they should incorporate in their online teaching, those activities, those physical activities, which can keep the students going? Like if you attend this class, we will be involving you in this. Like I know it's a bit out of the league question for you, but this just cropped in my mind, so I just put it forward.
No, I personally feel that the schools are not adopting the correct procedure of how to go through online classes. What I have seen is whatever classes were going on in the normal, when we were running the normal schools, and if the student teacher ratio was say 1:40, the same 40 children are now doing classes online. But there is no doubt in my mind that you cannot instruct 40 children online. You will have to reduce the number of children whom you instruct, but the teachers still have 40 children. And when they have 40 children online, there is no way they can monitor when they are walking around out there, when the teacher is, instructing them, or they are not even sitting in front of the device and are doing, they're just connected and they're not present. So this has to happen only if you reduce the teacher-student ratio. Now, to reduce this teacher-student ratio, you have to take steps. That means you either have to hire more teachers, or you have to have the same teachers working longer, or you have to reduce the pace at which you are teaching your students. Out of the three, one of them has to be done so that you have manageable number of class in front of you. Now it is for the teachers to give a feedback to say, I cannot manage 40 children in a class, which is online. You can't even see their faces. Even if you have them all put the video cameras on, you cannot get them even on one page. So you have to make manageable class sizes. The schools have not done this. Now, having not done this and then cribbing to say that the students are not listening, or the classes are not proper, I agree with you. They will never be proper. And this, we are talking of grown-up children. Imagine now when you look at children who are, say, class 6 and below. How do you keep their attention? So many children on a screen. So that's what I'm saying. You have to look at out-of-the-box solutions. And those out-of-the-box solutions, the schools have to look at. And there are many of them available. But this situation of lockdown may go on for maybe another month, maybe 2 months, and thereafter schools will open. But parents will not send the children to school unless you can give them the confidence. And that is the point that we really need to discuss. Why will you send your son to school when you are not assured that he will not get infected out there? And how will you be assured? What will assure you that when you send your son to school, he will not get infected? That is the question.
Exactly. And sir, like in a way, we can together we can request the school to, instead of taking 5 subjects a day, it would be better if they take 2 or 3 subjects a day, and with the same pace, like giving a break of 15 to 20 minutes, and then they can continue with the same subject ahead, because that is how they can learn. That is how they can learn. And because at times I'm surprised, like my niece and my nephew, they are having 5 to 6 subjects a day. The same school pattern is going on. I think we need to make a change in that.
Yeah, so you have a 24-hour day. You don't have to stick to the timings that you stuck to when you were going to school normally. That means you don't have to use just the forenoon. You may have classes early morning, then give them a break of 3-4 hours, then come back in the afternoon, give them a break, come back in the evening. So you have to look at the amount of time that you can hold the attention for in one sitting. It can't be continuously for 6 hours. So that is what I'm trying to say. Schools have
I
to
was
look at different models.
I was just talking to my mom. My nephew came from behind and said, Bua, please disconnect the phone. My class is about to start. Whereas he was on the phone since 7:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock he was there, and he got a break for hardly 15, 20 minutes. And he informed me, Bua, I have to get back to class. It
Yeah,
was
so we
when
have
I...
to change our model. We have to change our model.
So we have to make it
Also,
more productive rather than, in fact, we have to be more progressive rather than regressive, because we are following
correct.
the same school class module that was the same physical school class module.
Correct. And also, you must have heard that the syllabus by the CBSE has been, I think, reduced by about 30%.
50%,
Uh,
yes.
if that can happen there for the board exams, it can happen across the board because you are in a different environment right now, as long as this COVID situation is there.
In one of the schools in Delhi, I will not mention the name, because then the school will be after my life. They are going on with their online exams, and they have given the entire year syllabus to the child, and they are telling 30%, only 30% is going to come from this subject. How is the child to know what is the 30% that is going to come?
True.
Like, I think we need to be more clear to our children so that they pay more attention and they do it much better than what they can do. So being patronizing to most in fact, I would say the biggest army public schools in India, what, like, had you been still patronizing them, what measures would you take so that the school perform, the children perform better and they get better scores if it would have been this condition?
So, in my opinion, firstly, you have to start engaging with the parents, and you have to ask the parents what kind of measures would they want the school to take to convince them to send their children to school. So you see what the parents' aspirations are in terms of safety of the children. Thereafter, once you have got that, you need to start implementing them. And in my opinion, that implementation requires to make sure that the children are socially distanced. Now, like I gave an example of 40 children to a class, and that's what normally army schools limit is 40 children to a classroom. In these circumstances, you may have to reduce that to probably 20. Now, I'm looking at physical classes happening in the time of COVID, post-lockdown. If you are going to get your children to school, you will not be able to probably accommodate more than half of the strengths which you have today so that you can have these distances, maybe even less than half. Will depend upon the size of the classroom and the number of children in that class. Now, how do you go ahead? So, like I said, you need either more teachers, or you will have to reduce the syllabus, or you have to say that we will have a combination. For every class, you don't have to come to school. We follow a 70-30 principle, where 70% of your classes will be online and 30% you will come to school. So that means out of a 6-day week, you come to school for only 2 days. And you therefore rotate the children who are coming, and then you can have social distancing amongst those children. And the rest, 4 days, you're doing classes online. And these 2 days can be organized in such a way in a week where you can review what has happened on online, whether the children followed what was done, whether they did the homework which was given to them, and such stuff which require a contact with the teacher. So it maintains contact, and yet you are not going to school every day. So you are drawing a balance between the two. Now, whether it is 70-30, whether it is 80-20, whether it is 60-40 is for the schools to decide what model will suit them best. But I am convinced that you cannot go on business as usual till the time you get a vaccine. You will have to make these changes. So one of the suggestions is this. The second way you could look at it would be, I found that army schools function only till about 1:30 in the afternoon. Thereafter, there are only sports activities happening and the school buildings lie vacant and empty. Now, if you are looking at a two shift, a morning shift and then an evening shift, so you can get half the children in the morning, you can get half the children in the evening, and that will give you more social distancing. But all this has an impact on the number of teachers available. So whatever you have teachers now, either you will have to reshuffle them in a manner where you're reducing the curriculum. Like we said, if you reduce 30% curriculum, you may be able to generate some additional teachers who can then look at this morning evening sessions. But if you can't do that, then you will have to hire more teachers, for which you need more finances. But those finances are not forthcoming, because as it is, there's a problem with the schools getting money,
No
since the
school,
governments have passed an order to say that only tuition fee to be given and no other fees is to be given. So there is an issue of finances there. So schools will have to look at cost cutting in terms of maybe reducing administrative staff, maybe reducing people who are not really involved in your teaching, because the other activities are stopping. So these are now things that you have to juggle with, because nobody's going to give you additional money. Parents have an aspiration that the children must study. Schools have a job to do, and there is a conflict between the parents and the schools in terms of who pays how much and how to go about it.
Right.
Therefore, that's why I keep saying it needs an out-of-box solution. And if I was a patron, I would adopt these methodologies which I said of 70, 30, 80, 20, or looking at the morning evening shifts, or even both, a combination of both, which can give you the maximum benefit to the students and yet maintain their safety.
I have a question here. We are talking about academic, right?
Yeah.
What about the fitness? What about the sports activities? Because there we cannot maintain social distancing.
True. I'm afraid the sports activity which cannot maintain social distances will have to be stopped. You cannot go around playing football and hockey or any contact sports.
What about activities where we can maintain social distancing and still the students can maintain their fitness level? Because fitness of mind and body is very important to have obtain healthy learning.
So there is no doubt that if you can play sports which have got social distancing, you should be able to play them. And those are sports like maybe a singles game in badminton, a singles game in tennis, maybe children going for a run, but not collectively. They have to go, at different times of the time which is available. So it becomes more challenging for a run. But these other sports, like maybe even table tennis, so these kind of things where social distancing can be maintained can be done. But I don't think really the challenge is to keep children fit. I feel the challenge is more firstly in our priorities to give them education and the extracurriculars in terms of what happens to their development, their all-round development, which you get in a school. Apart from academics, you also get, many other things you learn in school. The connection with the teacher gives you a lot of, learning in terms of how to behave. Other children teach you how to, get around. So those kind of things we also need to look at. The physical part, I don't think is a big challenge. You can have children doing physical activity even at home, even gyms at home. There are so many things available. But the other part which requires instruction from somebody is where I think our challenge would lie.
Right. So, sir, we've already discussed about the 70, 30, 80, 80, 20, 60, 40 method that the schools should follow. Now, the challenge comes as when a child is not in school, you are taking an online exam, right? I'm talking about some of the psychological aspects right now. I'm going to come to that. A child is not in school, you are taking an online exam, and you want that the child has to be visible physically to you, writing the paper, and he also physically being present in you, and you're monitoring the children that okay, you are writing and we are observing you. So this gives a very bad psychological impact on the child that the teacher does not trust me. So this is where they start drifting away from the teachers. Right now, the condition is that we need the students to be close to us. We need that we somehow have to develop that relation that the students trust, believe that we trust them, and that is where they can imbibe the education that we are giving them online. But when the student loses the trust that the teacher does not trust me, how is the student to take what the teachers are working hard, and how does the student take that yes, the teacher wants me to do better?
You know,
Don't you feel that somewhere they are losing trust?
I don't think we should make this a trust issue. We should just make it a procedure. There is no doubt that wherever you go, whether you go to the airport, you are frisked. It's not a trust issue. It's part of the procedure. You can't say that, why are you frisking me? I'm an honest man. I'm not carrying any weapon. It doesn't matter whether you're carrying or not. This is our procedure. So we should not take this into the trust zone. It should become the procedure for online exam. And because it's the procedure, whether you're honest or you're dishonest is not the question. You have to follow the procedure. Because you have to have a procedure which is practical. And the practicality of it is that when people can cheat, there is a temptation to cheat. We are not saying you're cheaters, but we just want to institute a procedure which caters for fair play. So leave it at that. But having said that, I would also say that in our system, you cannot fail any student from class 1 up to 8th. Those are our rules. So what are we testing for? Our testing essentially is to see what is the competence of where the child has reached, how much has the child learned. We are only checking how much they have imbibed up to class 8. Because even if they perform miserably, you can't fail them. You
I
can
think
only
so.
advise.
Another option for this is we can take their Google tests. We can twist and turn the questions, and then we can take the Google tests. I think that
You
is
can
that.
take the test in any way. So taking the test is on the ingenuity of the school.
Exactly.
Testing, the reason for testing is that you want to know how much your students have learned. So
Exactly.
that is clear. How you do it is for you. You do it in a manner, you do it, like they have a lot of testing which happens in ZAT, CAT and others, but then you have to go to a center. If you're going to sit at home and answer a test, then I don't see any other way of doing it but where you are under scrutiny, because otherwise the temptation to use different means or unfair means or whatever means is always there. And whilst out of a class of 100, you may say, okay, all my students are very good, but why give anybody the loophole of a temptation? So we need to institute it as a procedure. But if you are not going to fail children up to class 8, which is as per the rules, you can't, then your testing is only academic. It's only to know the standard. Beyond 8th, if you're looking at testing them, then these methods, like you said, or what is being instituted by schools can work. I don't think we should take it into the thing of lack of faith and lack of trust.
Right, right. It was like this was a question asked by a parent to me, so I thought it's like you'll be better to
Yeah,
answer
but
that.
if you ask the parent when they go for getting a license, they're tested. It's
Exactly.
not that they don't trust you.
In
They
fact,
know
this
you
was
can drive,
the answer
but
that
you
I
have to
gave.
pass. Yeah, you have
This,
to pass your test.
this was the answer I gave them also. Like,
Yeah.
supposing when you came to me, did you trust me? No. Once talking to me, you started trusting me. That is, you tested me.
True.
So this is what I in fact, I was just looking for me and you, we are on the same platform, that we have the same notion that yes, students above class 8 need to be tested, and because they have those wandering minds, They need to be scrutinized properly so that they can perform well. We are scrutinizing them, just they do not misuse lockdown to not study. But we are testing them so that we know whether they are serious about it or not. And if they do not perform well, then we can definitely tell them that yes, you need to work hard in these areas.
Absolutely. It's essential for feedback so that they
Yes.
can know where they need to focus more. I agree with you 100%.
So, sir, let's get back to the topic. We've talked about, okay, physical fitness can be done at home. Physical activities can be done at home. They can do gymming at home. They can do exercise like Angad has been doing. Like he's doing amazingly, which I have been observing and I have been following him also. And my son is
Yeah.
also following him. So, like, in fact, he started taking some tips from that also. Otherwise, he was saying, I want to join the gym, and the gyms in Uttarakhand were to open from first, but now they've closed down for indefinite time. So, sir, we've talked about the gymming thing, we've talked about the education part, we've talked about the activities part. The school can involve the students in certain activities which can definitely work out well for them, and their creativity can also be improved. But, sir, what about the psychological part? They are inside the four walls of the home. They are not
So
allowed
are
to
we.
move.
So are we.
Sir, we are grown ups now. We are
Yeah.
grown up. We can adjust to the conditions. They have been like, we, anyhow, we can mold ourselves to the conditions. But the children, they have been used to, since they've started gaining senses, they have been used to friends, they have been used to playing, they have been used to mingle up with friends, they have been playing, they have had their friends here, they sit down, watch movies, they enjoy. Right now, most of them are getting into depression. It's not only children, even the adults are getting into depression. This morning only I received a message, I am getting into severe depression, I need to talk to you. So I told her after 12:30 we are going to talk. But then I sent her a message, we'll talk post lunch, because we got delayed due to the technical glitch that we could not come here on time. So, sir, how, because I know, because I too am connected to, like, I have some army people in my family also. And we know, and you know, sir, the way we handle our lives, handling things alone, at times we do get depressed. But yes, we do things and come out of depression. But these kids, they are not able to adjust, they are not able to accept the fact that yes, we are locked inside the house. Once they were free birds, now they are caged birds. So what suggestions would you give parents so that they can help their kids come out of it?
You said yourself that they're not able to accept it. The whole issue of endurance, mental endurance. And what is endurance? When you have to endure something which is not conducive, something unpleasant has to be endured. And if you can endure that, that's endurance. And what we are in right now is this lockdown period, which you have to endure. And the solution for enduring is to have mental endurance. And there are two things involved in mental endurance. The first is willingness. You need to be willing to accept that you are locked down. Acceptance is importance. And how does acceptance come? Acceptance comes with knowledge, with the understanding that if you step out, you have more to lose by stepping out than you are losing by staying inside. So you have to accept that lockdown is here for next 6 months, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. You can see what it is. We all read the papers, we all know the news. When is the vaccine coming? Until the vaccine comes, situation is not going to change. So the children have to be told that accept. The moment you accept something, it no more remains something that you have to endure. Then you are starting to accept it. And the second is optimism. You have to be optimistic that when this gets over, you will come out of it a stronger and a better person. Now, how does that happen? Now, this is, of course, a full subject on how to build mental endurance, and I can take a talk on that some other time. But in nutshell, I would like to tell you that there are techniques available to build the mental endurance of your children. Like you can build physical endurance by running, the same way you can build mental endurance by not only running, but by doing other things with your mind. You can, wherever you do something difficult knowingly, you build mental endurance. And a very small example I'll give you: when you go for a shower, instead of turning on the hot water which you are used to while bathing, you stand in the cold stream of water willingly for 1 minute, and you face the shower and you let your mind and your body feel the cold. Willingly you're feeling the cold in the midst of winter, and that will make your mind stronger. That will give you mental strength, and that is what you're required to go through these times. Now, there are techniques available for all this. There is counseling available, but I don't think parents need to look at the counseling part. As long as they can explain to the children what is the problem outside, and by staying inside they are better off, and then how to keep themselves occupied inside. Take it as an opportunity to do everything that you wanted to do but never had the time to do. Earlier you were being told by the parents, go out and play. Now the parents are telling you, stay inside. When you are staying inside, you have social media, you have movies, you have your friends online, you have books to read, you have old friends to catch up with, you have so many hobbies, you have the entire world available to you through the internet. So take this time in a positive manner, and you will find that you will come out a much better person. You will come out more educated, more strong, more knowledgeable. So it's just an attitude, and that can be developed.
Right, right. So this is like very educative for the youngsters who are watching us. In fact, you need to be more considerate. You need to be resilient to accept the fact that you have to stay inside the walls for quite some time. It's not that you will go out, you will mingle up with friends, and nothing is going to happen. You never know from where Corona might come and hug you, and then it's going to be with you for quite some time. So
Absolutely.
we need to be more and more cautious while moving out of the house. And please do not force your parents to send you out. Don't be after the life, I want to go out, I want to go out, I want to go out, because they are stopping you for your betterment. So the last thing we can discuss about it. In fact, we are going to start a series on present mindfulness and personal health. Also, I will definitely invite you for that. And it's going to be a series of around 8 to 10 episodes, wherein we will be having different people from this field who will be teaching us mindfulness also. And we would definitely love to have a session with you on mindfulness and mental health, because that is the most important thing right now. Because
Yes.
at times, even I feel that it's enough now. It's enough because
You are
there
saying enough because you are saying it's enough now because in your perception you thought it'll be 1 month or 2 months.
no,
But if you're
I
but
am
if you
quite
accept
aware.
if you
At
accept
times,
it's 1 year,
not
then
one
it's
year.
not
It
yet
can
enough in
be,
your mind. No, so you have
it
to
can be even
accept, okay,
more.
1 year.
It can be even more. It can be even more.
So accept 2 years, but accept
Yes.
it. Then you don't think you
In
are
the,
there.
in
Then
the
you have a
first
long way to
in
go.
the first 15 days, it was like, oh God, how can I handle it now? But then slowly we got accustomed, we got used to getting involved in some other activity. And that is where, when I planned this series, I thought, now it is time. We need to take it out. We need to tell people that it is there. It is going to be a part of your life for quite some time. You have to live with it for some time, until and unless we get the vaccine. So that is what it was like. When I thought it's enough, now I said, now it's enough. I need to go on air now. So that is where I planned it, and I start rolling it. So, sir, what would be the takeaways for parents, teachers, students, and everybody watching us? How should they handle their lives during lockdown? And yes, for students, they how they have to be more considerate about taking the online education more honestly and holistically.
See, the takeaways, like I said, for every challenge, there is an opportunity. This challenge that we are now faced with, we should take it as an opportunity to do whatever you can or whatever you wanted to do, which you never had the time earlier to do. And I will, at the cost of repetition, tell you, I connected with so many old friends. I picked up a lot of, information about fitness, about mental health, about singing, about, YouTube channels, about Instagram.
We saw you
While I
singing.
was,
We saw you singing during your pellet sessions also.
yeah, and had it not been for lockdown, like I'm doing the plank. Now the plank is something that you need to hold, and when before lockdown I could hold it for about 4 to 5 minutes. Today I'm holding a plank for 30 minutes, and my aim is that in the next 2 months to make it to 60 minutes. So set goals for yourself. Set goals which you can set for yourself within the confines of your house, which can be done within your house. You don't need to go out for it. And then follow your goals, chase them, and devote your time in a constructive manner. So the whole thing is to remain positive, optimistic, that yes, this is a phase in life. You have accepted it. And now you're optimistic that you will go through it and come out much better and stronger. So there is a sky is the limit of what you can do indoors.
Right, right. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your precious time.
You're
Today we've
welcome. It was a pleasure. It was a
we are
pleasure to be
almost
here.
in 45 minutes. We've covered nearly everything that we wanted to know, and we wanted everybody to know. Thank you so much, sir. We will definitely invite you for another series, which is going to be on mindfulness and health. And I would be waiting eagerly for our story session to be over, and after that, we'll be starting this. We are starting off with our online storytelling session for kids. It's going to be in
Okay.
the evening, 7 to 8, and we are planning. In fact, we've got Nod also from world's award-winning storytellers who are going to honor our platform. And 20th onwards, we'll be starting. It's going to be almost for I think 10 to 15 days. Let's see the number of storytellers we get, and it's going to be, in fact, a story quiz competition for kids. And we have already started getting registrations from across the country.
Okay.
We've got almost 100, 125 registrations are already done.
Excellent.
So this is in a way like why I created this platform was to involve everybody into it and take their mind off Corona. So
I
let's
think
see
you're
how.
doing a good job with it, and a lot of minds would have gone off Corona when they watch your shows. I mean, you you run it so well, and it's really heartening to see the way you are going about from topic to topic and show
So
to show. And
in a way, you are one of my motivations because whenever I am stuck somewhere, you are the one who really motivates me and guides me through.
now, any time of I can be of any assistance, don't hesitate.
Thank you
Just
so
let
much,
me
sir.
know.
You know, I just drop you a message even at night, sir. Tomorrow I want to talk to you. Please let me know when can we talk. And you've always been welcome, and I'm really very thankful for that. Thank you so much, sir. Namaste, and hope to have you on our platform again. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, sir. So here we end our session today. Tomorrow we will be having Mrs. Ishpreet Kaur from Delhi. She will be talking about mindful learning versus mindful learning. Mindful of learning versus mindful learning. Thank you. Namaste and see you tomorrow.